What I'm about to share with you is a story that sounds unbelievable at first, almost like something pulled out of a thriller movie. Yet every moment of it reflects the kind of scams that real people around the world fall into every single day. This is the story of the 2025 Wangxing kidnapping and the forced labor scam bust, a case that shook an entire community, exposed a hidden criminal network, and reminded people everywhere how dangerous online promises can be. Even though this is a fictional retelling, the emotions, the fear, the manipulation, and the courage behind it all feel painfully real. It begins with Wang Xing, a quiet 23-year-old who spent most of his days studying, working part-time, and trying to support his family back home. Like many young people searching for better opportunities, he stumbled across an online job ad that seemed too good to be true. Easy tasks, high pay, flexible hours, everything he thought he needed to build a more stable future. At first, it felt harmless. Just simple online work, a recruiter who seemed friendly, and a promise that life could finally get easier. But what he didn't know was that this simple job offer would be the doorway to something far darker than he could ever imagine. The messages from the recruiter felt professional at first, but slowly they became more urgent. Wang was told he needed to travel to a training center in a nearby region to finalize his employment paperwork. They encouraged him by saying many others from his city had already joined and were earning well. His doubts faded under the pressure of hope, and he took the trip thinking it was just a formal step. But the moment he arrived, everything changed. His phone was taken, for security reasons, his bags were checked, and he was escorted into a gated compound where the doors locked from the outside. In that single moment, the job turned into captivity. Inside the compound, Wang realized he wasn't the only one trapped. Dozens of people, men and women, were held in crowded rooms, monitored by guards, and forced to work long hours running scam operations. Fake crypto deals, romance scams, online gambling traps, and identity theft schemes. They were treated like tools, not humans. Anyone who resisted was threatened, punished, or isolated. Some had been there for months, some for years, and all of them had entered through the same trap: false promises of easy money. Wang tried to stay calm even as fear slowly took over him. Days turned into a blur. The workers rarely spoke because cameras watched their every move, and any sign of rebellion was met with immediate consequences. But deep inside, Wang refused to let go of the idea that someone, somewhere, would notice he was missing. He had always shared his travel plans with a close friend, Mei, the one person he trusted most. And although he didn't know it yet, that decision would become the turning point of the entire investigation. When Wang didn't return home the next day, Mei felt something was wrong. His phone was off, his messages unread, and his usual updates were silent. At first, she tried convincing herself that maybe his training took longer, but her instincts refused to settle. She contacted his family, gathered every detail she could, and eventually reported him missing. Authorities initially treated it as a simple disappearance, but Mei didn't stop pushing. She searched through old texts, job links, and recruiter profiles until she found inconsistencies, fake websites, recently created accounts, and suspicious activity behind the job listing. Her efforts sparked the attention of cybercrime investigators who were already tracking a rise in similar scam cases. As investigators dug deeper, the network revealed itself piece by piece. Digital breadcrumbs led them to a group of recruiters operating from different countries, using fake companies and untraceable payments to lure victims. The more they searched, the more they realized this was bigger than one missing person. It was a fully organized forced labor scam syndicate, and somewhere inside it, Wang was being held. Meanwhile, inside the compound, Wang managed to gather bits of information: names he overheard, places mentioned by the guards, and unusual patterns in the daily operations. He didn't know if he would ever escape, but he remembered something his father once told him: if you cannot fight the storm, at least learn how it moves. So Wang observed, memorized, and waited. Every detail mattered. After weeks of tracing signals, analyzing online scams, and following financial trails, investigators finally identified a location matching the pattern of the scam operations. With enough evidence gathered, they coordinated a raid with local authorities. And on a quiet morning in late 2025, the gates of the compound were stormed by officers who had no idea how many victims they would find inside. Wang heard shouting first, then footsteps, then doors crashing open. For a moment, he froze, unsure if this was another tactic from the guards. But when he saw the uniforms and heard his name being called, relief hit him so hard he almost couldn't breathe. He wasn't just rescued, everyone trapped inside the compound was finally free. People cried, hugged strangers, and collapsed from exhaustion. The nightmare was finally over. After the rescue, investigators uncovered layers of the operation: fake job ads, stolen identities, online scams that had drained money from people around the world. But the biggest revelation was how easily ordinary individuals could fall into traps like these, simply because they were looking for a better life. The case became a wake-up call, pushing communities to educate young people, job seekers, and travelers about the dangers of too good to be true opportunities. Wang's recovery wasn't quick. Trauma doesn't disappear overnight, but he rebuilt his life slowly, supported by friends, family, and counselors who helped him process everything he had endured. And instead of letting the experience silence him, he used it to speak up. He began sharing his story to warn others, helping them recognize the red flags he had missed. His voice became a reminder that scams don't always come in the form of phishing emails, they come disguised as hope, opportunity, and trust. In the end, the 2025 forced labor scam bust became a symbol of both the darkness of manipulation and the strength of human resilience. It showed that even when systems fail, the persistence of one person, like May, can save lives. It proved that awareness is one of the most powerful tools we have. And most importantly, it reminded everyone that no matter how convincing a promise may sound, safety should never be ignored. So if you're watching this today, let this story stay with you. Let it guide you whenever you see an offer that feels unreal, whenever someone tells you money is easy, or whenever a stranger online asks for trust too quickly. Sometimes the smallest moment of caution is what protects you from the biggest danger. And sometimes the simple act of checking twice can save your life or someone else's.